Blew out concepts. Like you can say, like, I've got a ginger kid, and it's like someone saying, what colour is your skin, which is a normal thing. I was married to an Indian girl, and it was like a normal conversation. What colour would your kid come out of? It's not. It's how it's said, and it's just been blown out of proportion.
Why do you think Meghan brought it up?
Money. To big herself up for this Archwell thing. It's all to do with publicity. I understand they've got to make money. Got to be.
Hi, I'm Seb. I'm here in London, and I'm going to get a feel for what people think about the monarchy and Harry and Meghan in light of all the controversy. Obviously, there's quite a few disparaging pieces about the monarchy, and there's lots of public pressure on them, but also you're hearing about polls talking about Harry and Meghan's popularity being at all-time lows and the Queen's being higher than ever. So we thought we'd actually come and speak to some real human beings and get a feel for what they think. So what do you feel about Harry and Meghan and the show that they did with Oprah? Are you supportive of them?
No, we're not supportive of them. I think, as I said a few moments ago off camera, I think they've lost the plot. I think that Harry's being manipulated by her. I think she's somewhat of a calculating woman, and he's obviously very besotted with her, and he's being, I think, in my view, led on by her. She should get back to being an actress and not be doing this sort of thing, in my view.
And yourself?
Well, I think that it was very untimely. I think that if she's not doing it for money or any other self-gain, then there would nothing to stop them from leaving it for another few years and coming out with it at a later date when the Queen and Philip are both gone. I think it's a very unkind thing to do at this moment in time, and it's not necessary. If they're not getting any financial gain, why do it now?
Right. So yeah, can you sort of share your thoughts on the Harry and Meghan interview and all the sort of controversy around that?
Well, the controversy is people saying about the racism. Well, if there is, we just have to sort it out. But regarding all the rest of it, let them get on with their lives. They've chose to back off from being part of the royal family and choose a life in America, and they've got to afford it to be able to pay for their security. So Netflix deals, whatever, let them do it.
Do you think they're doing their bit if they want to avoid press? Do you not think they're coming out and speaking to Oprah and stuff? That's kind of undermining their sort of push for privacy if they're going out and...
Well, you could say the same about when Prince Charles and Lady Diana done it, Princess Diana done it. So it's just a young couple trying to make way in their life, and they weren't able to express themselves when they were in with the royal family because it's such a tight-knit thing, so they've done it when they were outside. So, do
you take the racism accusations seriously?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
And you think they should you take her word on it?
I won't take her word in the sense that it's probably something was said, and whether it was took out of context by other people and made bigger than what it is, then that's a different matter. Because at the moment people do tend to jump on sort of stuff like that quite a bit too much.
Fair. And how do you feel about the Queen and the monarchy in general?
The Queen's my queen. Yeah. yeah.
And
I'm a royalist.
You're a royalist, and you feel proud of the monarchy?
I am, yeah. I'm very proud of them.
And so your take on this is just that you're proud of the monarchy, but Harry and Meghan should just be left alone?
Left alone, let them get on with their life. They've chose to live in America and pull away from royal duties, and that's their choice.
Fair dues, thank you. And yourself, so yeah, what are your take on Harry and Meghan and what they've done?
The racism is just a thing said out of context. Someone blew out context. Like you can say, like, I've got a ginger kid, and it's like someone saying, what colour is your skin, which is a normal thing. I was married to an Indian girl, and it was like a normal conversation. What colour would your kid come out of? It's not. It's how it's said, and it's just been blown out of proportion.
Why do you think Meghan brought it up?
Money. To big herself up for this Archwell thing. It's all to do with publicity. I understand they've got to make money, got to be a living, but all this rubbish that they're not entitled to security, which part of the royal family are, it's just. Well, she's led him along, I think.
You think she's led Harry along?
Yeah, definitely.
How do you feel about how Harry's behaved in general?
He'll regret it in the long run, but he's still part of the royal family to me. He's still going to be, well, Prince Harry, still, but he's just been led along.
And in terms of the Queen and the monarchy?
I love him to death. Yeah.
What do they mean for you?
Well, she's the Queen. She's Queen. In her age, she gets up every morning, She can't ring up sick and not turn up for work, so she's the Queen.
You think, she's inspiring the way she just keeps going?
Yeah, she should do, and it's them trying to nick a few quid, and you can see all she goes on about mental health. Well, she's so bad about mental health. Why didn't Harry do something about it? He's a representative for mental health, isn't he? So we didn't see that she had mental health problems, and she's sitting there, a year later, supposed to be about killing herself, sitting all proud like, it's all like rubbish. Yeah. She's playing on the mental health bit just to get publicity.
And what do you think in terms of the monarchy and what it means for Britain in general? What do you think it means for Britain?
I don't think it's doing any damage. I don't think it's doing any damage to the Queen or thing, and it's all she's doing is making damage for the family, upsetting the families, and she shouldn't be.
Fair dues. And finally, I guess in terms of what you think the monarchy as a general institution and the Queen, what they mean for Britain and for the English, and for Britain in general, what kind of role do you think they play? What importance do they have?
Bring a lot of people to this country, and a lot of people like Americans respect the Queen and respect this country for the monarchy, and they're trying to knock the monarchy down, which it's like any excuse for the papers to knock them down, and that's all. If she had something to say about racism, they should have said who it was. If you've got something to say, don't you say it or don't say it at all.
Me personally, we wouldn't be England, we wouldn't be Great Britain, the United Kingdom without the Queen, without the royal family. Simple as that.
So hello, how do you feel about? Did you watch the interview with Oprah? How do you feel about what's gone on?
I did watch the interview with Oprah. I kind of feel that it was a bit of a waste of time because there was a lot of information that we kind of already knew, if that makes sense. And I kind of find it very shocking to see how Meghan was asking for help and had to resign in Diana's best friend as well, instead of people that are actually meant to be helping her in the first place. I think it says a lot when it comes to race and just being like a common person in the royal family, right? Yeah.
So you think, when you mentioned about being a common person, do you acknowledge that the sort of questions of lineage, they do seem to, there's also like elements of classism, right? So for example, like Kate was a commoner. So do you kind of see, because a lot of people are kind of getting very focused on the racism element of it, but do you kind of see scope that it's maybe something broader than that just the nature of a monarchy is that you are kind of exclusive in terms of the kinds of people that you welcome in?
The thing is, both Kate and Meghan will be common people, but the treatment has been very different, and I think it just resides in the fact that Meghan's black or mixed race and Kate's white, and she didn't really receive that same sort of treatment in regards to like stupid articles in the newspaper about eating avocado and holding her belly bump and having a one sleeve like dress or things like that. That's already happened in the royal family but it's never been spoken about. Very like minimal things that are really pointless to even write about.
Do you think that, so my impression is that, Kate doesn't have like tons of eccentricity, right? So she kind of follows the rules a lot, so she kind of would have been very, perhaps overly respectful of them, whereas Meghan's very opinionated, she's gone into a historic institution. Do you kind of see some scope for that was the source of the friction, that maybe there's more of a clash of heads than just the fact that she's mixed race?
I think the fact that they were in similar positions but there was different treatment will make Meghan stand up for herself, and I feel like somebody that's always been on the forefront, like she's an actress, so she's going to speak up about certain things, and like I said, the treatment was different, so I think it makes sense that she will stand up for herself in that way.
You think the treatment was different the whole way through? Because it felt for me that people were very excited at the beginning. The wedding was a great spectacle. There was the African American pastor, the church, and there was a lot of positive press around that. Right. Do you feel that? And that seemed to imply that there was some acceptance. Do you not think it perhaps changed at some point?
There was acceptance in the beginning. I think from what was said in the interview, was that she really asked for help and more treatment and to be taught certain things, and she really didn't get that sort of treatment. And it's worrying if you're asking to have like psychological help and you're not really getting that, and the institution is saying no to you. Being pregnant, and wanting to commit suicide is very major, and I think she should have been listened to from the beginning. I feel like that would have saved a lot of misunderstanding in the royal family, like to this point,
So. They're quite serious claims. Do you like? There's obviously an attack she's launched on the royal family. Do you think that they should be substantiated. I mean, has this changed your opinion of the royal family?
I mean, I've never really been about the royal family. I don't really understand the purpose of the royal family in the present day. I don't really know what it is that they do. I mean, you're paying tax for a building that you can't even go into, so I don't really understand why we still have a royal family in 2020 or 2021. Sorry. I guess the attacks, I mean, I understand what you're saying, but at the same time, she did speak highly of certain members of the family. It was mainly the institution that she was complaining about, which I'm imagining they have more power than the royal family itself.
So do you think the family should be spared any criticism from what's gone on then?
I don't really know what to say, because even though there's probably people that have more power than the royal family, I do think that they have enough power to speak up about certain things, right?
Yeah, and in terms of what they do in general, they do speak up for progressive issues. Do you get a feel for that? Do you get the feel that they try to be a force for good?
Not enough.
Not enough?
Yeah.
Okay.
Especially now with this whole situation with Meghan.
Well, but that's the thing, is that, like, they seem to do a lot publicly, right? They do a lot publicly. We saw publicly what they did with the wedding.
Yeah.
These are the sort of private things that have gone on. We don't know what happened behind the scenes. So, in terms of what we've seen with our eyes, it seems like they've done their bit to be welcoming. Is there not scope? I mean, because there's a clash of cultures there, and do you not see scope for Meghan being a little bit hurt, egotistically lashing out at them? I mean, it's a huge.
I mean, I find it kind of not really. Like, I understand what you're saying, but I think when they start worrying about the colour of a baby and thinking if that baby is going to have any power in the royal family or any protection, as a mother, you would worry about that and you start to question certain things, you know. And I feel like from then on she was asking for help in the institution, wasn't getting it, and I think it makes sense as well why Harry wanted to move away from that, because a similar kind of treatment happened with his mom, and she's white, so.
Well, so perhaps it's not just about race. It's about it's
erasing itself in a way.
But if his mum was treated the same, do you think that lessens the claims about race? Like, because Diana there was also a big culture clash with Diana, right? She was a very progressive. She was part of a new young Britain. So does that not in some ways show that there can be these big falling outs? You can have this huge brouhaha in the public sphere, and it doesn't have to sort of all come back to race.
Yeah, I think also it's a very carefree kind of attitude that Diana had, that Meghan also has, and I think it's not an attitude that's really welcomed in the royal family. And I think when you're so carefree, you want to show respect for everybody. I also feel there's certain things that we don't know about the royal family that Diana probably wanted to speak up about that didn't, and I think that's kind of happening again now with Meghan.
Okay, you don't think Meghan would have spoken up about them more? Like, if they...
I think it's very dangerous, to be honest with you.
Okay.
I'm sure there's a higher power that if you speak up about it, it's not good.
Okay, and all right, and last question. Do you feel that? I mean, do you not think Meghan should? Like, this is part of the deal, right? This is part of, you are constrained. I thought it sounds terrible being locked in a room, you can't go out because you can't. Look, I don't think that sounds good, but that is the tradition. That is the institution. So is it not on her and Harry? Harry knows the deal. He's seen his brother get married. He knows what it's like with his mum. Do you not think there's any responsibility on him? And it seems like she's come bulldozering in. She's very opinionated. I mean, do you not what do you think about that? How Harry comes out? I mean, she should know what the deal is.
You kind of know. You should know what you're getting yourself into. Basically, it's the royal family at the end of the day.
So, what's your take on Harry and Meghan, and what they said on the Oprah interview?
I don't really care about them, really, mate. To be truthful, take no notice of them. You know what I mean?
Do you know, like, did you watch any of it, or have you kind of seen any of the claims they made?
Really? Do you know what I mean? But other than that,
yeah. And do you think, like, what's your opinion? You just think that, what's your opinion if you were to be pressed about them and what they've done, and in terms of what they've said about the monarchy?
I think it's all lies, really. I think it's full bullshit, do you know what I mean? But
just trying to get attention?
Yeah, of course it is, do you know what I mean? Another way of earning money, isn't it, really, I suppose, for him?
How do you feel about Harry and kind of how he's been loyal, whether he's been loyal to his family?
No, I don't think he's been loyal, has he? Do you know what I mean? Really, saying they're racist, you can't say that, can you? You know what I mean? So
quite serious claims that they made about the family.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
Yeah. But in general, yeah, you just don't, like, you think it's just big, you're saying a bit of a publicity stunt?
I reckon so, yeah.
Hi, so what do you feel about, did you watch the Oprah interview?
I watched most of it, and I watched most of
You
it.
watched most of it, and how do you feel about the whole thing then?
I mean, I thought it was quite appalling that they were concerned about his skin colour, and I've been seeing like a lot of memes taking the piss out of how the royal family have been treating them, and it's not right, and a lot of people were on Meghan's bad side, but I think that she deserved better, and she was really respectful towards them even though they treated her wrong.
You think she was respectful towards them?
Yeah, during the meeting she wasn't exactly slandering them, she was being wary about what she was saying and who she was talking about as well, whereas Harry, he was more open because that's his own family, and I think she was just being respectful throughout the whole thing.
Okay, with regard to how she was respectful to the monarchy in general, I mean, obviously coming out and levelling accusations of racism against them is quite, that's quite extreme behaviour. I mean, regardless of whether it's true or not, that's obviously not holding her punches. So do you think that do you not see that, I mean, how do you feel about the fact that she actually went and held an interview about it?
I mean, when there's injustice, you have to speak up and speak out for it as well. So, I think she did the right thing. She wasn't calling them names, she wasn't being immature, she was respectfully saying what had happened to her as a victim of racism with her child, etc. And I just think that she deserves better, so she has every right to say what happened to her, and freedom of speech, really.
Freedom of speech, do you feel that there's any burden of evidence? So they didn't really substantiate the claims around the media, around who had said this. Do you think that she should just be taken at her word? Do you think that we should sort of ask whether she had any motivations for doing this, whether she was trying to sort of strike back at them? Do you think we should just sort of listen to what she says without questioning?
To be honest, it's normal to question a lot of things that people say. For instance, if you have allegations against a certain someone, you might not have evidence, but you would know that it definitely happened to you. So because of the world we live in, of course, investigating and seeing what happened behind the scenes as well, we can't always believe everything that we hear, but to be honest, it's up to us to believe that or not, and it's just based on our instinct, to be honest.
Okay, and your instinct tells you
that she's correct. I think that they've been mean to her.
Do you think she acted perfectly throughout the whole time there? I mean, there was many times where she broke convention, like she got involved in politics in the US in terms of picking sides there, which the institution aren't supposed to do. Do you think there's any onus on her to kind of engage with the institution more?
Well, to be honest, with the way the royal family is, they have a lot of rules that people need to follow, and she wasn't adjusted to that. And she was new into the family, new into how things work. She had no idea, which she also said, she was learning things last minute because no one was exactly helping her settle into the family. And I don't believe that people should do victim blaming at all when it comes to what she's saying. And everyone makes mistakes, and I don't know the exact mistakes that she may have made, but I feel like that doesn't excuse what she had gone through as well as a child.
Okay, and in terms of how you feel about the royal family, how do you feel about them?
I mean, I don't really have a bad opinion on them, but at the same time, I do feel for them. Like Princess Diana, everyone loves her, and the way she was, and she's just lovable the way she was. And the royal family have a lot of rules, and I feel like that's a really hard life to live. I wouldn't be able to do it myself. I'm sure a lot of people won't be able to.
Okay, but you don't feel this has changed your opinion much about the royal family?
Well, it has given me a bad impression of them, because regardless of someone's race or skin colour, to me it's all the same. Everyone's the same to me. I've never understood that since I was a kid, as to why black people, white people, I've never understood this whole segregation thing until I learnt history and about everything that happened, obviously. But it just gave me a bad impression. But I think that because I haven't always been following the royal family or watching The Crown, etc., I haven't really been passionately engaged with that. So it just leaves me a bad impression, not exactly the best opinion.
Yeah, so are you going to do any research yourself to investigate whether, because you're saying that your opinion on them has changed based on Meghan Markle's claims, right? So do you think are you going to do research to kind of get to the, do you think any investigation should happen? I mean, what kind of, are you happy with what saying what she said and changing your opinion on the royal family on the back of that, or do you think there should be a bit more substance there? Because the royal family are a central institution, so it's a very serious thing calling them racist, right? Particularly in the modern age. So do you think there should be some burden of proof in order to kind of actually have these impact people's perceptions of them?
Well, sometimes it is hard to provide evidence for something that someone verbally said, and as I said before as well, it depends on your opinion. I mean, sure, with how things work generally nowadays with the law and everything else, we need evidence, and I can't dispute against that, but I still feel like it's up to the public whether to decide whether they believe in her and what she says based on only that and not a lot of facts, or not.
Do you think with regard to her wedding, do you not think there was also signs that she was welcomed by the family? She spoke about the Queen being positive. She spoke, if you look at her wedding, there was lots of African American influence in that. You had the pastor, you had the choir. So does that not suggest that actually they were accepting of her race?
Well, generally you would say yes, but nowadays if you were to use schools or you were to use companies, they always want to have a good reputation. So they will always put up a front, just like how I'm putting up a front with you when I'm usually just a shy person. You're believing that I could be confident, but deep down I'm not. It's always about the face that they put out and the reputation that they're trying to uphold, but you never know behind the scenes, just like domestic violence, you don't know.
Okay, so you think that they're doing what they can in public, but the private conversations, that they're more revealing of their character, basically?
Yeah, exactly. And you could see, even before, history always repeats itself. Just like how Princess Diana, a lot of things happened to her. We didn't know the full story behind everything that she had gone through as well, and why she was really, really upset. It's the same sort of concept, really.
People speak about the parallels. Do you feel that for people who were complaining about the press invasion in their lives, do you think that Harry and Meghan have done a lot to kind of minimise press influence in their life and kind of put themselves in the private sphere? Because it seems like, I mean, for example, Oprah's one of the most famous women in the world and the most famous interviewer. So do you think that they've done, if they are, you think they're not a bit contradictory in the way that they are behaving? Because they do seem to seek out publicity.
I think there's different types of publicity that they're seeking out. They're not seeking out the sort of gossip where you would find them on a magazine. They would seek out something where they can actually speak freely and not have the media misinterpret what they're doing or what they're saying. No one wants their privacy invaded. Just like how someone may go on the news, someone may speak about something, but when they go home they don't want anyone to see
That's part of the deal, though, isn't it? Of being a public figure, you can't have the adulation, you can't have the positive sides of it, and obviously they stand to make a lot of money from the Netflix. You can't have the good parts of it without the bad. They seem to be it seems a bit naive, to think they can just have like loads of positive public press and not have the flip side of it. I mean, every person in the public sphere has to deal with both sides of the sword. So if they are concerned about the negative side, if she's saying that's actually really damaging for her mental health and wants to make her kill herself, do you not think that she would have done more to hide away? Like if her life's on the line, do you think she would have not done anything to avoid any publicity, whereas they never really shied away from it? Okay, and finally, so do you support the monarchy then? In general, you seem to be sympathetic with Meghan here. What do you think about the monarchy in general?
I mean, the Queen's sweet, and yeah, I mean, I'm not completely against them. A lot of people say that they're old-fashioned, but if you want my own opinion, I think that it's okay. Every single issue that does happen within the family, they need to solve.
So, did you watch the Oprah interview?
No, I didn't.
Do you have a general feel for what happened in it?
I know like the memes online, sort of the summary.
You know the memes about it, yeah. What was the best meme you saw?
I saw one with Harry dubbed over as a roadman, like talking about fighting someone. I can't really remember.
Fair enough. And what's your general take on Harry and Meghan and them leaving the institution?
I mean, it feels like any other celebrity thing, to be honest. Like Kim or Kanye. Fair play to them doing what they want. I'm not really that bothered about tracking the gossip on.
Fair dues. And does it, in terms of how the monarchy come out of this, do you think this has any bearing on them at all?
It's hard to know, isn't it? Because pretty much all of that goes on behind closed doors. What actually happened, so whether it'll have like a wider impact on what people in general think of them, I guess you could see in surveys. Whether it's impacted what I think of them, I don't really.
So as you've seen, there's lots of support for the monarchy still, and for the Queen. You know, there are obviously pockets of woke land here in London where people sympathise with Meghan, but it doesn't seem that it has fundamentally changed the way that a lot of people feel. Some people sympathise, but they still appreciate the role that the Queen plays and that the monarchy has, and also tons and tons of people who still feel really passionately about the Queen, the sense of duty that she has and what she does for the country. And yeah, in general, I think any sort of thoughts that this has seriously undermined the monarchy and that has caused a loss of faith in it, they don't really seem to have any grounding in reality. So anyway, I've been Seb, and this is for Turning Point UK.